Hello, friends, and welcome to another installment of the best indie books that you've never read. I'm Mark Stanislawski. I'm also Good Ideas Comics. And if you like comics in general and you like um, reviews of indie books and comic hauls and all that type of stuff regarding comics, um, give me a give me a give me a like, give me a comment, subscribe to the channel. We already have a bunch of videos up, and there's more on the way. There's a lot of indie books out there that I'd really like to go through, and then I know I'd mentioned this before, but maybe we'll talk about some Marvel and DC books also as we trudge onward to discussing comics in general and how good they are or how bad they are and what makes them bad or makes them good. But today we're going to talk about this indie comic right here, Apothecaria, from Past Line Comics. Now, you're going to say, never heard of this book, never heard of Past Line Comics, you know, don't know anything about it, and that's fair. Originally, when picked this book out of the box because I wanted to do a video on this book because I remember it. I've remembered it since I got it. This was when did I get this? 97, I believe, 1997. So, and I remembered it, and I was like, I want to showcase this book. Come to find out, I had originally thought that I had bought it at the LCS that I was going to at the time, and as it turns out, I there's no way I did. This is a convention pickup. They must have been at the convention. There's the back cover. I like the back cover, and there's the front cover. Because there's no, even though there's a price, there's no barcode, and if you go into the many price guides and stuff on the interwebs, there you can't find Past Line Comics, which means their books were never distributed through Diamond or through any other distributor. Now, why is that? That's the mystery. Okay, and we're gonna, as we go into this book, we're gonna talk about it, um, because it's a good book. I like the book. I like the story. The art, as you're gonna see, is pretty good. It's pretty incredible. Let's open it up. We open it, black inside. We get a nice quote from Joseph Rue, and you know, and we start. The one of the things that I guess people pick on artists about is buildings. Oh, they can't draw buildings. These buildings are okay. These buildings are pretty good, I think. And this is the start. This is the first page, and it's a good first page. There's a high-rise building, and you can see the phones ringing, and the guy picks it up, and he obviously there was a bomb in the apartment, and he dies. And we go down to the bottom, and we see this gentleman right here. Now, the captions, um, give you here. They don't. The problem is that the captions, they don't give you any dates. They just say it's Tuesday, day and time. And as we're going to see, now we move to Wednesday morning, and it looks like the same gentleman here. He's in a plane, and he's talking about about um, about stuff, and we still don't know much. Okay, we still don't know much about what's going on. He obviously was a part of the killing of this person, and he's talking about delaying somebody's baggage, and you know, and then we see the girl whose baggage they want delayed, and she's having all kinds of funky hallucinations as she meets up with the gentleman who we saw. But who is the gentleman? We're going to keep going. She finally gets her baggage, and then there's this guy over here, and this is an interesting sequence here because we get a glimpse of what's going on. Now, apparently, these little bullet things, these little cases, are full of blood. They're full of this gentleman's blood. Now, what is in the blood and what does it do? Um, we get another nice quote, Ben Franklin, and that and see, he takes the blood from himself, fills up these little vials or whatever you want to call them. And we get days and times, Thursday, as and you can see the art's pretty decent. The art's pretty decent. Somebody was murdered. Here's the FBI, and they're and you can see they found the little vial, which they don't want people to find. So of course, the FBI agent has evidence of something that nobody's supposed to know about right down here, and he gets killed. And the guy comes in, he's going to take the vial, and that's the end. And I like stories like this. I like the whole conspiracy thing. There's something going on. There is secret tech or whatever you want to call it. In this case, there's the blood that does something to people. We don't know exactly what it does um, yet, but that's why you read the book, right? This is the part of the story. And I like the art. You get 5 panels, but you get a lot of empty space. Some people might say, it's a waste, whatever. You get another, good quote, but I like it. I like all the empty space with the panels bunched right here. Now, you see, this is the part where I think they kind of made a mistake. The writers and artists here, because this is Tuesday, okay, but it's not Tuesday. It's this Tuesday. So we start on Tuesday. Then we go to Wednesday, and then you think this is the following Tuesday, but it isn't. We go backwards. We go backwards to Tuesday. And I think when you do linear stuff like that, you really need to have dates or something, or format your story in a different way. My personal opinion. So because she's got the vial, right? She's got the vial of the blood, and she had one. It's pretty cool. It comes out the back of her neck there, like right at the base of her skull, and that's where it comes out. So this one's empty. Now she's got to put a full one in. But again, we don't know what it does. And it turns out that the chick, the girl who we saw back here at the airport, is is the hitman. Okay. That is going to kill this guy. And then we'll go back to that's a great last page, because we know, you know, from what we're seeing here, this is this is all this. This is all the first page that we saw. So, and they had to clean up his loose end too. But I like stories like this. I like the whole conspiracy thing, you know, love it. And it's a black and white book. Again, love that last page. Continued. Of course, the book is not continued. And now, Dom Tosco, I guess, was the big Kahuna, right? He created this. Um, he did the dialogue. He illustrated it. Peter Tosco, probably his brother, was the editor. And you know, now I don't know if they had ever intended for these books to be distributed. Um, I think I think they missed a huge opportunity, if they had these books, because if they were able to distribute these books, let's say through Diamond, I have no doubt in my mind that it would have sold pretty well. I think. Past Line Comics, there's a website here. The website is no longer in service, obviously. And the big thing is that the end of this book, they talk about all these books. Okay, the Red number one. The Red was published. You can find the Red on eBay. That was probably their first book. But the whole point of this, um, tune into Mancow on the Free Speech Radio Network. Mancow's Morning Madhouse is intended for mature audiences. That's probably another book. Never came out. This is an interesting, because this is Warrior's Blood preview. And it says, reading the Warrior's Blood preview may reveal upcoming plots for Apothecaria. Now, the Apothecaria saga is a trilogy. All three titles on the trilogy take place in the same universe, but different times. So, the Apothecaria, the book we have right here, takes place in the present time. The second title adopts a post-apocalyptic setting, which, when I read that, I was really interested. And then Warrior's Blood uh, is the final title, and that takes place 400 years in the future from now. So they had stuff planned out. But unfortunately, none of these other books ever came to pass. And then, here's the Warrior's Blood. And that's what this is. That's the Warrior's Blood. But what does it do? We don't know. We probably were going to get that next issue. I like the art. I think, and again, I think and I don't know. I don't know if they tried to have the book distributed and they were denied, but when you're doing books like this, especially the amount of books that you wanted to publish, they wanted to publish, you're talking 3, 4, you're talking like 5, 6 titles a month. Um, y- that's a lot of time. That's a lot of effort. That's a lot of money. You can't just say, "Oh, we're just going to sell them by working on them, printing them off, and selling them at shows only, or through our website." Trust me, that doesn't work. That's not going to work. You need you need that distribution to get you into stores so that. Now, would it have made a difference? I think it would have made a little bit of a difference because obviously they only ever published 2 issues. They had published this first issue of Apothecaria, and they published the red number 1. We saw the red here. The red number 1. That one was published because you could find those books on eBay. Excuse me. Just get some water. But at that point, it stops. We don't know why. Nobody knows why. If you know why, leave a comment. And if you are one of the talents that worked, if you're Dom Tosco or Todd Crippen or Zell Umali, if you're Peter Tosco, whatever, Bill Spear, if you worked on this book and you know something, leave a comment because I'm sure people will be interested to know why, what was your plan and why didn't you go through with the plan? I think that would have been uh, it would be interesting to know. And it's a shame because like I said, I like the story. I think the art's decent except for maybe this figure here, those legs seem really long. They don't seem right, but I think we get a better sense of the warrior's blood vials of like their size. When you look at it in the book, the vials look kind of big. They look kind of huge, right? Because they're doing close-ups. They do close-up, and that looks huge, but it's actually not. And for it to fit in the base of somebody's skull, you know, like this here, and is she human, or is she a cyborg, or how does that work? What, obviously she has a something. She has something in her skull that allows her to um, bring in the warrior's blood. And again, we don't know what that does. We have not gotten to that yet, but it's interesting, and it's too bad. And even after this is all done, I'm kind of surprised because Dom Tosco. I mean, the guy's got pretty decent art, and I'm surprised he didn't just draw. He didn't just go around and draw like other books or get into other indie comics through whoever, whether it be Dark Horse. I mean, I'm sure he could have gotten a pretty decent job in indie comics drawing. I mean, he was pretty good at figures. He's good at hands. The faces, the eyes. It's a lot better than a lot of other indie stuff. I like the What is that? The aquarium. She's looking through the aquarium. I like that. It's good. It's good stuff. But again, if you've worked on the book and you're watching this video, leave a comment. Or if you just know the history of Fast Line Comics and what was their intention and why didn't it work? Was their intention just to sell books through at shows and through their website and not to do general distribution, or was it to do the distribution? That was why they planned so many books, and for whatever reason, maybe Diamond turned him down because back in the day, I did hear a ton of stories of a lot of people who wanted to distribute through Diamond, and Diamond basically turned him down and said no for whatever reason, one reason or another. They turned him down, and uh, some people say it was just because they were already distributing way too many books. But I mean, because we remember the previews catalog, right? I mean, that thing was like phone book thick, just full of indie publishers trying to sell their books. But I mean, that's too bad. Apothecaria, if you can find it, I could not find this on eBay. Um, but if you can find copies of this, maybe they would be in a dollar bin in a bookstore somewhere. Maybe I don't know how they would get there. Maybe it was bought through a collection. Um, uh, Scour eBay. You're not going to find it on what is it, comicshop.com, because they weren't distributed. It's a non-distributed book. But yeah, if you do come across it, even though it's only one issue and you're only getting one small chapter of this huge story, this epic saga, as it was called. I mean, if nothing else, the story that's here is good. And if you're an aspiring artist, you can probably, get some pointers from some, uh, storytelling pointers, or learn how to draw faces and hair and suits, clothes. I love it. So if nothing else, you can get that out of it. But yeah, definitely check it out. Thanks for tuning in to this video again. This is kind of a quick video. We didn't really get too much into it because it's only one issue, but we did look through it. It's definitely a thumbs up from me. It's just a gosh darn shame that there weren't more issues. I mean, even if there were just 3 issues, I think that would have been a solid 3 issues, and we might have been talking about those 3 issues as one of the best indie comics that you've never read. But this one issue by itself is definitely right up there. So that's the thrill of the hunt, right? If hunt for it, if you can find it, great. But definitely thumbs up from me. Thank you everyone for tuning in again. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, a comment. If you're Dom Tosco and you're watching this video, give me a comment, man. I'd be interested. I'd be interested to know, and I'm sure other people would too. Don't forget to visit our website, www.goodideascomics.com, as I am a writer and I also sell books through my website, as we have some stuff there. And you find us on social media. We're on the platform formerly known as Twitter, the X. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. And, say hi. We look forward to hearing from you. Okay. And that'll be it. And as always, we will see you in the funny pages. Thank you.